Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to this very special edition of AMC Mailbag. This is going to be an Ask Me Anything installment. My name is John Campea. I am the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. And the reason we're doing an Ask Me Anything today, I put up on Facebook and Twitter last night that today was going to be an Ask Me Anything. And the reason we're doing an Ask Me Anything is, as you can see, I'm in the new AMC headquarters, the new AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California. Things are not finished. We are still got things going. I am in the studio side of the new AMC headquarters, the AMC Movie News headquarters. On the other side of that big wall back there is our offices side. But you can't see what's over there, and you can't see what's over there, and you can't see what's behind the camera. But I thought I would give you a little bit of a sneak peek as to what is coming and what's behind me there, some of the new stages for our shows coming up here on AMC Movie News. And we are still in the middle of doing everything, trying to get this place up and running for next week. And I thought, we just don't have time to prep a proper AMC mailbag show and do all the things that we need to do to get that ready. So I thought I would just ask you guys to do an Ask Me Anything, send in a bunch of questions on Twitter, and I would just take it very casually. I've just set up my laptop here in the studio. This is very informal, so I'm sure it doesn't look all that sharp and everything like that, but we are so excited for AMC Movie News Phase 3. We are now in the midst of it. Everything is coming together, and we can't wait to launch all the new shows. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started with the first question that came in today. And the first question that came in today was this. It comes in from Jamie Strasser, who writes, what did you think of the Power Rangers mini-movie? I thought it was badass, hashtag AMC AMA. Well, I think what Jamie is talking about is that that short film that was put in the other day with Katie Stackhoff and James Van Der Beek, that was kind of a different take. It was a very expensive fan film. It was a very expensive Power Rangers fan film, which, if I'm not mistaken, has gotten a cease and desist. And so it was not sanctioned by Saban or the studios or whatsoever. It was a very expensive fan film. And I saw a lot of people tweeting about it and asking me about it. Say, John, what do you think of this? It's so awesome. It's so awesome. It's so awesome. And I'll be honest with you. I watched it, and I didn't think it was any good. I really didn't think it was very good at all. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people... here's the thing. A lot of people know that I am not really excited for a Power Rangers movie that Lionsgate is now putting out. I don't think it's a good move. But I think there are ways you can modernize Power Rangers and, get it away from the campy thing that we had in the old TV show, and you can do something cool with it. So while I don't think it's a good idea, I haven't written it off completely. They're doing it. I still don't think it was that great of an idea to do it, but they're doing it. There are ways to do it so that could turn out and be really good. So I'm very curious to see what they do. But this fan film, that wasn't even Power Rangers. So look, if you're a Power Rangers fan and you didn't like that short film, don't be turned off with the idea of a movie, because that short film has nothing to do with what they're going to make a movie out of. Do not be discouraged, all right? But I watched it and I thought this has nothing to do with Power Rangers. It's a generic sci-fi action fan-made short film with a Power Rangers paint job put on it. But by that I mean they just slapped the costume on a couple of them and gave a couple of the characters the right names. Other than that had nothing to do with Power Rangers. So even though I didn't like the short film, I thought it looked like a bad Sci-Fi Network ripoff, to be honest. But that's just me. I couldn't have made it any better, but I'm not exactly the standard, am I? So I would say this, though. Just because I didn't like the short film, that in no way hurts my perception of what the movie could be. And if you're somebody who's really looking forward to a Power Rangers movie, I don't think that short film should discourage you, because it was not by the studio. It was just a fan-made thing. It wasn't even really had anything to do with the Power Rangers. Now, that's just my personal opinion. I know a lot of people loved it and talked a lot about it online. But here's my challenge to you. Apply what I have come to term the Michael Bay test, right? Here's what I call the Michael Bay test. there are a lot of people out there who sometimes a trailer comes out for something and really the trailer's not good, but because of who made it or what it's about, people will lose their minds and say, that's awesome. Like the first, I was going to say Inception, the first Interstellar trailer. I quite liked Interstellar. I thought it was really good. I was a bit underwhelmed by it because I was expecting this Nolan 10, 10, 10, 10 kind of movie, and I didn't think it gave us that. But I still liked Interstellar quite a bit, actually. I enjoyed it. That being said, and I was really looking forward to the movie, I did not think the first trailer was very good at all. I mean, it showed nothing. It showed a dude driving through a wheat field. I mean, that was it. It gave you no insight as to, okay, what's this movie even about? What's this movie even about? It gave you nothing. But people lost their minds. Now, I loved the second trailer for Interstellar. I loved the second trailer. But the second trailer actually showed us some things and gave us an idea about what's this movie about and who these characters are. Just gave us an idea, and I thought it was great. But the first trailer, people lost their minds over it. And I'm like, look, I'm looking forward to this movie as much as anybody else, but I'm looking at this trailer, and there's nothing decent about this trailer. It was not a good first trailer. But because it had the name Christopher Nolan on it, and I'm a big Nolan fan, everybody knows that, but just because it had the name Christopher Nolan on it, people loved it. They thought it was an awesome trailer. So what I would say is this, and I've heard, I didn't make this up, I mean, other people made this up, I've just adopted it. I'd say, okay, let's say that was the exact same trailer, but near the end, when the little title comes up, instead of it saying a film by Christopher Nolan, let's say it said a film by Michael Bay. Would you still say that that was a great trailer? And the answer was no. If that was the exact same trailer, but didn't say Christopher Nolan on it, said Michael Bay instead, people would have guffawed at it. And anyway, that's what I feel like is happening with this Power Rangers short film. I think if that Power Rangers short film said a short film by Michael Bay, everybody would be mocking it. But because it's Power Rangers, and a lot of people are very excited about Power Rangers, some people are just losing their minds about it. And I'm sure there are people who saw it and just loved it because they really did think it was good. And that's great. But for me personally, if you're going to ask me, what did I think about that Power Rangers short? I did not think it was very good at all, to be honest with you. So despite the fact that I actually really like James Van Der Beek, I actually really like Katie Stackhoff and all that kind of stuff, but I just didn't think it was all that good. Much better than I could have done, but not very good in general. All right, let's move on to the next question. And the next question comes to us from Nolan Hiddink, who writes, "Hey, John, what do you think of the new look of Aquaman?" Yeah, I wasn't on AMC Movie Talk the day that the Aquaman thing came out, and everybody talked about the look of Aquaman. Okay, look, take this with a grain of salt. It was just a picture, all right? It was just a picture. Has nothing to do with how good the movie will be or how bad the movie will be or anything like that. It was simply just a picture, okay? Just a still photograph. I mean, you could show me several stills from The Phantom Menace and they would look awesome. So don't get too worked up over a picture. That being said, I thought the picture was indeed badass. I thought that picture was awesome. You want to destroy this perception of Aquaman, of just some, like they portray him on Family Guy, just some loser dude who just happens to be able to talk to fish and comes crawling out of the ocean. You want to destroy that perception? Boom. They just destroyed that perception with one still image of Aquaman. That thing looked awesome. I really, too, also liked, because in the traditional Aquaman, he's wearing that orange suit with the scale-like things on them. And they did a play on that. At least this is how I think they did it. They did a play on that by having tattoo scales on it. So how do you take something that kind of looks a little bit lame and suddenly make the concept seem brilliant? Tattoo it on Jason Momoa. So look, once again, that doesn't mean the movie's going to be great. I hope the movie's great. It doesn't, if you didn't like the picture, it doesn't mean the movie's going to be bad just because you didn't like the picture. It's just a picture. But like I said, that being said, the picture was pretty awesome. So me personally, I loved it. All right, let's go to the next question. And the next question coming in here is from Trevor. And Trevor writes, "Hey, John, was there ever a time when you met someone from the movie business that made you completely starstruck?" Yeah, it's kind of funny. As huge of a fan, I don't get starstruck often, but it has happened a couple of times. First one, obviously, is George Lucas. I may hate the prequels. Everybody knows I hate the prequels. Doesn't change the fact that I worship at the altar of George Lucas. What he did, and I cannot recommend enough this book, How Star Wars Conquered the Universe. Read that book. It is insane. If you really want to get a real deep appreciation for who George Lucas is and what he was able to do and what he created, read that book. I think you'll be impressed and like it a lot. So that was one, clearly, was Lucas. Bill Nye was another one that starstruck me a little bit. And then the third one is Harrison Ford. I mean, obviously, because Star Wars is my life, but also a big Indiana Jones fan, and I'm friends for Red October, and so many of Harrison Ford's movies that those are, I think, are the only three. And Sigourney Weaver. I met Sigourney Weaver, and I was a little, you're Sigourney Weaver. So I had a little bit of that going on. And so I would say those are the times. Generally, I don't. I mean, I'm excited about meeting all the celebrities I get to meet, but I don't exactly lose my mind over it. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next question. And the next question today comes to us from Crocker, who writes, what's your favorite part about working for AMC? The movies, the fans, being able to meet actors or actresses. Oh, well, that kind of goes back to the last question we had, doesn't it? I love the fact that I get to, for most movies, I get to get into for free because I work with AMC. But I would have to say that my favorite part of working with AMC Movie News is really is the people I get to work with. We're getting to work with Dennis and Amy Rose and John Schnepp and Alicia and Christian and Mark and Ashley and Sinead and just the whole team. I'm really honored and privileged to work with these people, and I have a lot of fun working with them. But out of the options you gave me, I'd have to say is the fans. Look, it's still, I love this job. I love doing what I do. I get to watch and talk about movies for a living. I mean, I work 16 hours a day. It's tough. It's whatever. But I love the job just for the job. But it does mind boggle me. Actually, just yesterday it happened. I was sitting having lunch in Burbank on the outdoor patio, and a guy came walking by and pointed at us and said, "Hey, I love AMC Movie Talk." I mean, that stuff still floors me. Fans who have fans, that's kind of weird to me. I was so blown away when we went to Atlanta a few weeks ago and we did the live taping of AMC Movie Talk in Atlanta. And you heard me say this story. I told them no, that I didn't want to do that when we were in Atlanta. I said, because we're going to have 5 people show up and it's going to be embarrassing. And they said to me, trust us. People will show up. And I think we put up 100 tickets to make available online for people to come, and it sold out in 2 hours. And then we got to Atlanta, and the theater manager said that we were setting up to do the show and said, yeah, we've had at least 100 other calls into the theater saying, online it says the tickets are sold out, can I still get in? It was just, that's flooring to me. And it's so much fun to then meet film fans wherever we go in the country, and it's a blast. I get a big kick out of it. I mean, I could pretend to act cool and say, oh, no, that doesn't faze me. People come up and want to take a picture with you or say hi to you. It doesn't faze me. I got to tell you, I get a huge kick out of it. I know that makes me a spastic nerd, but whatever. I get a big kick out of it. I think it's really fun. And I'm honored when people want to come up and talk to us. It's awesome. And so I'd say, aside from the staff and the people I get to work with and just the job itself, I'd say the thing that I like most about it is getting to meet the fans of AMC Movie Talk. To me, it's incredible. All right, let's get on to the next question. And the next question now comes to us from Simon Blakemore, who writes, hi, John. Will these new shows, I'm talking about the Phase 3 shows, have their own channel like AMCI does? Good question. Now, as you know, we have a great indie show about independent films called AMC Indie Spotlight, AMCI Indie Spotlight. And it's hosted by Amy Rose Eisenbach and Alicia Malone, and it's awesome. I think it's the best show online about independent film, personally. These two ladies and their guests, they know their independent film, and it's just great. Now, we created a new YouTube channel just for AMCI because AMCI, unlike a lot of our other shows, is going to create so much content because We take AMCI and we chop it up into its individual segments. They do reports from film festivals. They get their own individual interviews that come in that they do. And we have a lot of plans for AMC Indie Spotlight. And so we decided we wanted to start off AMC Indie Spotlight with it having its own YouTube channel, so it can really put together all that content. And we were afraid that that much content coming from one show would kind of flood and we already put up a lot of videos in our YouTube feed, a lot of videos. And so we were afraid of adding too many more, like just for one show. So we thought, let's give this a shot by letting it have its own YouTube channel and see how it does. And we're really excited with how it's doing. We might change that in the future. We might bring AMCI back into the main YouTube channel. But for now, we're really happy with how it's doing. And we're excited to see it growing. And we're excited to see where it goes. So we like having that on its own channel. But for the other new shows like AMC Jedi Council, AMC Heroes, AMC Rewind, AMC Coming Soon, and of course we already have Mailbag and stuff like that. We're going to do some Versus episodes, our spoilers reviews, our regular movie reviews. All these things are just going to be on the main YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel, don't worry, you don't have to subscribe to 8 other channels. All the shows are going to be in our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. Hope that answers your question. All right, let me bring up the next one here. And the next question today comes to us from Daniel Velez, who writes, would you consider Chris Pratt a successful television turned film actor? Great question. I have this thing where I say, look, it's maybe 20 over the last 20 years. Can you point to people who made it big, first became big celebrities as big TV stars who have been able to successfully transfer and become big, successful movie stars? Maybe 20 in the last 20 years. It is almost an impossible feat. Because for every George Clooney that you have that was able, he first made a really big name for himself as the big star of ER on television, transitioned to become one of the biggest movie stars in the world. For every George Clooney, for every Michael J. Fox, who obviously first became very big star as the big star of Family Ties, transferred into becoming a big, big movie star. For every one George Clooney, for every one Michael J. Fox, you will get 30 David Schwimmers. You remember the guy from Friends? You will get you'll just get tons of those. It is next to impossible. Now, I put a few caveats. Like some people say Will Smith. Well, Will Smith doesn't count. Will Smith was already a star before he even did television. People knew who the Fresh Prince was long before he was on television. So that doesn't really count. And then some people will say, well, what about this person who was on SNL? Well, I mean, I don't know that I really count SNL people, because SNL people, a lot of them are just smaller supporting characters who weren't big household names before they got into movies. And I would say Chris Pratt, I don't think Chris Pratt counts as that either. Because Chris Pratt, before he became a movie star per se, he clearly wasn't the top person on Parks and Recreation. He wasn't the top 2. He wasn't in the top 3. He wasn't even in the top 4 build people in Parks and Recreation. He was like the 5th, 6th, or 7th character. And Pratt, and I love Pratt. I've loved him from day one on Parks and Rec. But Pratt was never a household name from Parks and Recreation. And so I don't think he suffered from some of the drawbacks that other television stars suffer from in trying to make the transition, because there are not already household names known for one character on television. Chris Pratt was like the 5th, 6th, 7th build character on an ensemble show. He wasn't a household name, and so he didn't have that baggage in trying to make the transition to movie stardom. And look, I know there are some people who want to see it the other way, and that's cool too. There's an argument to be made for that, but you're asking me, and my personal opinion is no, that I would not consider Chris Pratt a television superstar who was then able to transition to becoming a movie star, because he was never that well known as a TV star. Just my thoughts on it, just my opinion. All right, what's next? The next question today comes to us from Colby Bean, who writes, what is AMC Prime, and does it cost more than a regular ticket? And if so, is it worth it? Which is better, IMAX or Prime? Okay, look. Well, first of all, AMC Prime is a special kind of movie theater that some AMC theaters have in their buildings. And what it is It's a much heightened picture. It's a gorgeous picture. It has Dolby Atmos sound system, which is probably the best sound system you can have in a movie theater in the world right now. It is Dolby Atmos. They also have thick plush leather recliners in their theaters with tons of leg room, and you can lay out. Let me do the analogy again, the visual analogy. You can lay out and watch your movie that way. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I lost my freaking lid the first time I went into an AMC Prime theater. I love AMC Prime. Now, as far as what do I think is better, IMAX or Prime? AMC is the biggest partner of is the world's biggest partner of IMAX. We have more IMAX screens than anybody else. But take my opinion with a giant grain of salt, okay? I work for AMC. So even though this is my real opinion, you have to take my opinion with a grain of salt because I work for AMC, okay? That being said, Prime. Easily for me, Prime. I love the Prime theaters. I almost feel ripped off whenever I'm sitting, even in another AMC theater that's not a Prime theater, I feel, disgruntled or something. I love AMC Prime. Now, is it more expensive? Yeah, it's a couple bucks more expensive to go and watch a film in a Prime theater. It is a Prime experience. I mean, it is a higher experience. They charge a couple more bucks. And if you don't want to pay, go see whatever movie you're going to go see in one of the regular theaters. That's cool. Now, you asked me, do I think it's worth it? Once again, take my answer with a grain of salt because I work for AMC. But the answer is yes. I believe that it is well worth it, especially if it's a movie that's going to be a big visual spectacle. You absolutely, if you can, I highly recommend going to see it in Prime. I have never heard anybody complain coming out of a Prime theater. And once you watch a movie in a Prime, you might be spoiled because you may not want to ever watch a movie in anything other than a Prime again. So that's what a Prime theater is. All right, let's move on to the next question here. And the next question comes from John, who writes, AMC Movie News now, I love the movie Buried, but who got robbed for an Oscar nomination the most? Ryan Reynolds or Andrew Garfield for Social Network? Yeah, I talk about Ryan Reynolds in the movie Buried a lot. The movie literally is an hour and a half of Ryan Reynolds in a coffin, in a box. That's it. And all the cameras are inside the box with him. The movie never goes outside of the box. It's him buried 6 feet under in a box. He's a guy who just wakes up one day and he's buried in this box, and all he's got in there is a cell phone. And it's really, really good. And the performance that Ryan Reynolds gives is just kind of crazy, stupid, awesome. I really love it. So the question is, who got robbed more for an Academy Award nomination, him or Andrew Garfield for his role in the Social Network? Well, here's the thing. I often talk about, I think people use the word robbed and snubbed way too loosely when it comes to Academy Awards stuff. To me, you should only say robbed if it was so clear that this guy deserved a nomination that you can make an argument he should have won. If you can't say that, if you can't say there's a legit chance that guy maybe could have won or should have won, then you can't really say he was robbed. If it's not that definitive, then was he really robbed? I don't think Ryan Reynolds was robbed of an Academy Award nomination. Now, I would have given him a nomination that year had I been a voting member. I would have given Ryan Reynolds a nomination for Buried. That's me. But I can't make an argument that I thought he should have won, and therefore, I don't think he was robbed. Andrew Garfield, on the other hand, I think absolutely was robbed and absolutely was snubbed. Because he should not have just been nominated for Best Supporting Actor that year for The Social Network. He should have won that damn award. It went to Christian Bale instead for Fighter. And Christian Bale was awesome in Fighter, but he was not a supporting actor. He shouldn't have even been in that category. They only put him in that category because they knew he had no chance of beating Colin Firth from The King's Speech for Best Actor. He had no chance against Colin Firth. So the studio took him and they put him in the Best Supporting Actor category. Stupid. But Andrew Garfield didn't even get nominated. To me, that was the biggest robbery of the last few years. He should have won Best Supporting Actor that year. So who got robbed more, Ryan Reynolds or Andrew Garfield? Just my opinion, but my opinion is Andrew Garfield is the one who got robbed. All right, I'm going to start ripping through these next few because I'm running out of time here. Nick Moore writes, "Hi, John. Will the new shows that start in Phase 3, example Jedi Council, etc., be available to download as podcasts? Thanks." Well, kind of like will the shows be on the main YouTube channel? Yes. All of our shows, except for maybe movie reviews, all of our shows will be in our podcast feed. And if you look in the description of our video, you'll see we have our podcast feed there. So for those of you, it's kind of crazy. We got like 10, 11, 12,000 people a day download our podcast, and we never even promote it. But anyway, but if you're the type of person who likes to listen to our shows, all of our shows will be included in that one podcast feed. We're not going to spread them out. We're not going to make you subscribe to 8 different podcast feeds. We're going to put all of our AMC Movie News stuff into our audio-only podcast feed. And I think we're going to start that with AMC Indie Spotlight as well. I think we're going to put, even though AMC Indie Spotlight has its own YouTube channel, I think we're going to start putting the audio from that show in our podcast feed as well. So I hope that answers your question. All right, 4 more to get through here. Let's get to this. The next question comes to us from Jamie, another one from Jamie Strasser, who writes, if a live-action Aladdin movie was made, would it be a cool idea to keep Robin Williams' voice as the voice of a CGI Genie? No. Number one, because then you're making a movie serve an actor, even though in this case it's an actor who's passed away. If you're going to make a live-action movie of Aladdin, you have to have the freedom to do whatever you want with it. And if you are going to just use the pre-recorded voice of Robin Williams from the original animated film, then your hands are tied. You're handcuffed. You can't go in creative directions. You can't do different things than they did in the movie. You have to stick with whatever it is he already recorded. Would I be curious? Like if Disney did that movie and then they put it out, would I get in line to see it? Yeah, I would. I'd be very curious to see it. But trying to be objective about it, I would say it's probably not a good idea. That's just my opinion. I think a lot of us would be very curious about seeing a movie like that, though, and you're probably one of them as well. All right, let's move on to the next one. And the next question comes to us from Screekar, who writes, we talk about Oscar campaigning, but why should any movie campaign? Isn't it the job of the Academy to watch everything? Well, yeah, but here's the thing. In talking about campaigning isn't to get people to watch it. Campaigning is about making your case about why you think you should win. I mean, you get nominated, that's great, or you think you should be nominated. Everybody's seen your movie, but now you get out there and you make a case for why you think your movie deserves it. We do it in everything where there's nominations. If you're nominated, you're up for a job interview. You know, most people don't just read resumes and then decide who they're going to hire. They give you a chance to come in and interview first. They want to see you face to face, and you get the opportunity to make your case about why you think you'd be good for this job, or why you think you'd be good as class president, or why you think you'd be good for union head, or whatever. Campaigning is about making your case and trying to get in front of the voters' faces, keep your film front and center in their minds, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I have no problems with campaigning. And you know, whether a campaign is effective or not, that's up to Academy voters and to whether or not they wanted to listen to what comes out of a campaign. All right, 2 left. Let's get into this. All right, this next one comes to us from Henry Mertens, who writes, at John Campia, hi John, do you like going to music festivals / concerts? If so, what is the best concert experience you've ever had? Thanks. Well, actually, I love concerts, but I don't actually go to a lot of concerts, oddly enough. I mean, I'm not like Amy Rose, who goes to a concert, 2 concerts a month or anything like that. I'll go to a few concerts every year. This is going to be a weird, eclectic mix. My 3 favorite concert experiences that I've ever been to, in no particular order, okay? One is Weird Al Yankovic. I went to see Weird Al Yankovic perform in this big hockey arena in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. And absolutely one of the best, most fun, most entertaining concerts I have ever been to. And not only because he's funny, but seriously. So Weird Al Yankovic comes walking out on stage, and I'm a musician. So as soon as Weird Al Yankovic came out on stage with his band, and I saw the band, I knew this band is going to be awesome. How did I know? Because they were all like over middle-aged, overweight, bald. These were not handsome gentlemen, all right? And the reason I knew right away that this band is going to be awesome was because clearly Weird Al did not pick these musicians because they'll look hot on stage. I knew in my head right away, he picked these guys because these are probably the best musicians, amongst the best musicians in the world. And sure enough, as soon as the concert starts, these guys were killer. So good. It is one of the best bands, like a group of musicians I've ever just heard play. It was so tight and so impeccable. It was just great. And Weird Al was fun and funny, and it was just awesome. And the audience was great. A second one would be a U2 concert I went to at Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California, that packed the place. It had to be like 50,000 people there, 60,000, whatever capacity is at Angel Stadium. It's just unbelievable. Just one of the most unbelievable concert experiences ever. And then another one, the third one would be the first time, because I've gone several times to this, but the first time I went to go see John Williams in concert with the symphony orchestra at the Hollywood Bowl. That was just like a religious experience for me. That was just awesome on so many levels. So my three favorite concert experiences in no particular order: U2 in Anaheim at the Angel Stadium, John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl, Weird Al Yankovic in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Those are my three favorite concert experiences. All right, let's get now into the final question for today before we call it a day. And this one comes to us from Avi Rosenfeld. And Avi writes, take J.K. Simmons and Julianne Moore out of the picture. Who wins Best Supporting Actor and Best Actress at the Oscars now? Very good question. I've said from day one, if it weren't for the fact that Julianne Moore turned in the performance of a lifetime, this would have been the year for Rosamund Pike to win an Academy Award for Gone Girl. She was incredible in that. I actually thought she was the front runner to win the Oscar until I saw Still Alice. So it's really unfortunate for Rosamund Pike, because that was the performance of a lifetime for her too. She was insanely good in that. I think no brainer Rosamund Pike wins the Academy Award had Julianne Moore not been in it this year. With the Best Supporting Actor one, that's a little more tight. I'm going to go ahead and say Edward Norton. I think Edward Norton who was so good in Birdman. I actually have a feeling that had J.K. Simmons, especially looking at how Birdman really won the Oscars this year, won Best Screenplay, Best Director, Best Picture. I think it also won Best Cinematography. I have a feeling if it wasn't for J.K. Simmons, I think they would have also added Best Supporting Actor, and Edward Norton would have got that trophy on his shelf for the first time in a long time. All right, folks. That'll do it for me for this special impromptu AMC Mailbag and Ask Me Anything episode here in the new AMC Movie News headquarters. I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek. I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me this Saturday morning. I'm not positive that we will have a mailbag tomorrow. I might do another Ask Me Anything because it doesn't take as long to do. But Dennis and myself and Ray and John, we're against a time crunch and trying to get everything running and get this studio fully operational like the Death Star. We are trying to get this thing operational. And time is tight. So we might have a show tomorrow, we might not. We also may not have an AMC Movie Talk on Monday. I'm just giving you that advance warning because we may want to use Monday just as a big final push to get everything ready and together and then start on Tuesday. But we might. Keep following me on Twitter. You can see my Twitter handle there below in my name tag there, just at John Campia. Follow me on Twitter or follow me on Facebook, and I will be announcing when the shows are starting, if we're going to have a show tomorrow, if we're going to have a show on Monday. It's just too early to tell right now. We're doing our best to get this done, but I at least want to get a Saturday mailbag in here. So thanks a lot for joining me, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News, and until next time.